Alright, so your warm-up should be done, so let's move on to the lesson. Today, students will be able to determine the effects of the graph when the parent function f of x equals x squared. When f of x is replaced by f of x plus d, f of x minus c, and f of b of x for specific values of a, b, and c. Pretty much what we're saying is the graph's going to move around, and you're going to be able to look at the equation and know how. Okay, so this is a little cheat sheet. I want you to pause this video and write this down, okay? So if it's a vertical shift, that means the d is going to be on the outside. Whatever change is happening is going to be on the outside. Whenever it's a vertical compressor stretch, that means that it's going to be multiplied on the outside. Whenever it's a horizontal shift, the change will be on the inside, and whenever it's a horizontal compressor stretch, the multiplication will be on the inside. So quadratic function, we went over that, is anything that has to do with x squared. Quadratic parent function is y equals x squared. That means before we touch it, before it moves anywhere, it's y equals x squared. Parabola is the shape of the graph. Okay, so it's this right here. It's the shape, that U shape. The x-intercepts are where the line crosses through the x-axis, also called solutions, roots, and zeros. Now the vertex is that point either at the very bottom or it's that point at the very top. Okay. The axis of symmetry is that invisible line that goes straight through the center. So this would be x equals 3, not 2. Forget 2. Remember, x equals 3. The maximum is when it looks like a mountain. It has the very highest point, so it has a maximum. The minimum is when it's like a valley, and it has the very lowest point, so like a hole in the ground. So that's a minimum. Quadratic formula, we'll get to that later along with discriminant. Standard form is when it's y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Vertex form is y equals a x minus h squared plus k. And I think we'll be looking at this one a lot more today. Okay, completing the square, we'll get to that another time. Okay, so let's go to our lesson. We need to get to number 11. Yep, right here. Okay, so watch this. These are all the changes that can happen. Every quadratic function is a transformation of the parent function. It can either go up, it can move down, it can move to the right, it can move to the left. It can be reflected over the x-axis, become thinner, get wider, not reflected, wider, and thinner. Now wider and thinner we call compression or stretch, and I'll go over that with you here in a second. Okay, so looking here, the parent function is y equals x squared, the related function, okay? Let's see what happens when we make this y equals x squared plus 1. What do you see that happened? It moved up. Now keep in mind, it did not get thinner. It's just whenever this moves up, it looks like it went thinner. So what do you think is going to happen when it's x squared plus 2? It moves up 2. Plus 3, it moves up 3. So what about minus 1? It goes down 1. Minus 2 goes down 2. Minus 3 goes down 3. So if it's ever x squared plus or minus a number here, it's either moving up or down. Now here, what effects is changing on the inside? Now here's a little tip. Anybody who has an x knows that x's are liars. So whatever this says in here, if it says x plus 1 minus 1 squared, it's actually going to the right because x's are liars. So inside the parentheses, if it's in the room with the x is a liar, okay? So if it says minus 1, it's actually going to the right. So if it says minus 2, it's going to go to the right 2, okay? If it says minus 3, to the right 3, okay? So what if it says plus 1? Where's it going to go? To the left, okay? If it says plus 2, to the left 2, and plus 3, to the left 3. Remember, that's when it's inside the parentheses. That's the horizontal shift. Okay, now we're going to see what happens when we multiply. Are you ready? Notice it's already starting off at 1. Does anyone know why? The reason is right here in front of this x, there's an invisible something. Do you know what that is? It's an invisible 1. But in algebra, we don't have to write that. So there is an invisible 1 there. So what's going to happen if we make it 2x squared? It did a vertical stretch, okay? What that means is we have taken these and we have pulled them up, okay? So it's stretch. When it compresses, we take a line across here and we keep pushing it down. That's what compresses it. So if we make it 3x squared, it gets even thinner, a more vertical stretch, okay? So what do you think is going to happen with 1/2 x squared? 1/2 x squared that would be a compression, vertical compression. Now, what do you think is going to happen with a negative 1/2 x squared? That's where we flip over the x-axis. Why can we not use 0? Because 0x squared is nothing, like it's not there. Okay, so this is a vertical compression and it flips over the x-axis. This is exactly the same, just reflected over the x-axis, so if it says negative x squared, that negative just means it's reflected over the x-axis. Okay, this one gets a vertical stretch along with being reflected over the x-axis. And this is a vertical stretch along with it being reflected over the x-axis. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what happens. We use the parent function, okay? What do you think is going to happen with -3 inside the parentheses? Remember, inside the parentheses means it's a horizontal change. So is it going left or right? It's going to go to the right, because remember, x's are liars, so it goes to the right 3. Then they added this +2 here on the end. So what does that mean? That means it's going to shift up 2. Okay? Then we have this negative added in over here. What does that negative do? It reflects it over the x-axis. Okay? And then we have this 5 added in. What's that going to do? Do you remember? Is it a stretch or a compression? It is a stretch. Okay, so we're going to go through all these one more time. We start off with the parent function. This -3 inside the parentheses makes it go to the right 3. This +2 on the outside makes it go up 2. This negative sign here reflects it. And this 5 stretches it. Okay? Now let's see if we can match these up. When I look at this one, this tells me that it needs to be to the right 1. Okay? It doesn't move up or down anywhere, so which one goes to the right 1 from the parent function? This one looks like it goes to the right 1. Okay? Now this one, this tells me it's going to go to the right 3, it's going to go up 3, and be reflected. Okay? So to the right 3, up 3, and be reflected. So we're looking at the ones upside down. That doesn't go to the right. That one doesn't go to the right. This one goes to the right 1, 2, 3, and up 1, 2, 3. Okay, this one here, it's going to go to the left 3, because remember, x's are liars, to the left 3 and up 5. So to the left 3 and up 5. And it's reflected. Okay, so left 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one here is going to go down 4, so it doesn't do anything but go down 4. That looks like this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this one here is going to go up 2. Which one just goes up 2? This one over here. And this one here is going to go to the left 1 and up 3. Which one goes to the left 1 and up 3? Do we see that? What about one that goes just down 1? Just down 1, it looks like this one. Oops. All right, let's check our answers. Correct, yay! Okay, this is my last screen I have for you. So here's the frog. Okay, the red frog does that path. Okay, so the blue frog, let's see his path. It looks like it's the same shape, so we can go ahead and leave it as y equals -1/4. Now, x minus 6 made it go over to the right 6. This one goes over to the right 14, so we're going to do -14 squared. And then this one was +9 because it was up here at 9, so this one's going to be +6. Okay, let's check our work. Let's check our work. And we had it correct. All right. So now what you're going to work on is you're going to work on your worksheet here. So you're going to start here at the beginning. You're going to use this equation. Tell me if it goes upward or downward. Tell me if it compresses or stretches. Tell me if it goes left or right. You're going to do all of that. You can type this into your calculator into y equals. I suggest first typing in y equals x squared because that's your parent function, and then typing all of this in. Okay, remember that this is a negative and this is a minus. Alrighty, good luck.